Morning again. Hello.
Hello, yes. Let's talk to the author James Woodhouse and broadcaster Claire Muldoon, our headline makers for today. Let's kick off, because Anne's been itching to talk about this all morning,
I
Claire.
find it fascinating.
This 70-year-old Ugandan woman who's just given birth to twins.
Now, she says it's a miracle.
No, not half.
Not half. But, however, the children were conceived by IVF, and I've got quite...
She looks great for 70,
I've got quite a few issues with this. One, a female mothering a child age 70, you've got to feel for the child. I mean, the mother is obviously... because of her age, she's limited in the amount of years she can actually spend with the child.
Yeah.
But it's also reported that 2 years previously, or 3 years previously, she'd given birth again to another child. Now, I've got mixed feelings about this, you know, about the ability for people to be born. I'm very pro-life, you know that. However, at this stage, I think there's something quite wrong about it. Yeah. Is this a form of human trafficking? Who are the babies going to be looked after? What is the forward planning? What is the succession? There's lots of questions there.
We don't even know if there's a father around. But for any woman of 70 to be giving birth is just extraordinary.
Absolutely extraordinary.
Do we know, I know it's too detailed, but is it her own eggs?
There's no detail on where the eggs
on that.
I wouldn't have thought so, because the eggs
would be old.
Very, very. They do age.
So that would be my issue with this, really. Why is she wanting to? But if it's not genetically her child anyway, she's just wanting the experience of being pregnant and giving birth.
She already had that, though. She already had that experience back in 2020.
I think it's
completely selfish. And I think the burden of guilt should actually fall at the feet of the medics who are actually allowing this, who are facilitating this, because it can happen, because you can do something, doesn't make it right.
No.
That's not why IVF was sort of invented.
No, it was not.
Was it?
Not for 70-year-old women living in Africa with, you know, without a partner, without anyone, or it would perceive there was no support to actually help her postpartum and then help the child. What do they expect? Madonna to airlift in and adopt the child again? Well, I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think... Wait a minute.
Oh, here we go.
It's not even go, Stephen. It's just, I hear what you say, Claire, but, you know, exactly who are we to judge in Britain about all of this stuff, right? If you look at...
Well, as a mother, I think I'm pretty well placed to understand.
Yeah, but that's identity politics. You know, the question is...
Well, it's not, it's fact.
Well, it's a fact, but the fact that you adduce it turns the political discussion and the discussion on Africa's prospects and the rights of women and all of that into, you know, your personal identity. I'm a father. That doesn't bear on...
It's not even just that... It's not identity, but, I mean, I think, to be fair, James, I don't think you can speak from an experience
I did the
of
breathing
this.
exercises for my children.
Oh, that's hard.
I did all of that. So can we not just play the, you know, the women card? And can
I'm not just... I'm playing the child card as well. It's the child. We've got to be child-centric about this.
May I finish? Child-centric. Can I finish, right? I'm asking, who are you to judge the fate of this woman, of African families, and of the age at which women will have children from here in exalted Britain? If you look at the British age at which...
I hardly think it's exalted Britain, James. Well, I mean, I think your voluble denial about what's happened is absolutely striking.
I'm trying to make a point, if you'll let me.
But it's not about her being African or being in Africa.
Well,
it's their age.
We have a very old mother.
Okay.
We have the UK's oldest mother was 66.
Exactly. Now, that's the point I was trying to make.
Yeah, but we don't agree with that either.
Well, you may not agree with it. I may not agree with it. I'm asking a question. Who are we to judge? Who will arbitrate on matters like this in Britain or in Africa? Yeah, is it going to be the Supreme Court? Yeah, but... Will they know best, or are they all men?
Well, I tell you what, because the point is, when it comes to courts, and this isn't actually going to be a court issue, but when it comes to courts, what they do, they put the welfare of the child above any other priority. Yes. And that would be the question here. What is the welfare of the children who, by the time they're just 10 years old, their mother will be 80?
Yeah, but we're not the court, right?
No, we can still have a view on it.
Yeah, we can have a view. It may be a matter for the courts. The interests of the child should be very paramount. That's one thing. It's another thing to rush to judgment about this case or any other, about what is... I must ask you, Claire, at what age in Britain would you deny the right of women to have children? What,
I don't think
is it
there's
60,
not a
65?
cut-off. The thing is, with women, we've got naturally productive reproductive genes and equipment that enable it. And when that equipment stops, called menopause, which differs from age to age, from women to women, that's the natural age. We can't forget about the natural law in this country, the moral law, or indeed the common law.
At what age would you deny women the right to have children?
Whenever post-menopause.
Yes, I think I'd say the same.
Yeah.
There's something natural about that.
Fair enough.
It's not fair enough, it's fact, because women cannot conceive after menopause, naturally. And the whole thing about IVF was brought in to help childlessness and help couples actually have children who were otherwise denied because of the fact that women miscarried or male sperm count wasn't up. That was the facilitation for women to conceive via IVF.
Yes, but would you not agree, if you take the case of Africa, that the development of medical care, the electrical power that goes to hospitals at night when solar power isn't available, their general development of gynecology, obstetrics, and all of those things is more important than this particular case and our right to sit in judgment from our place in England and say, no, 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 I have an issue with this.
Of course you can have an issue with it. Just to say there's something really
Yeah, but are they not more important?
Aren't there?
Yeah, but is it natural that Africa stays in a situation where women's health...
It's about
this happened in India as well a few years ago.
I'm aware of that.
Because they're trying
I'm aware of that.
Don't make it African-centric then.
Look, what I'm pointing to is the underdevelopment of Africa and India,
and this is
the
helping
particular
development. This is making children become
the particular
orphans.
plight of women in those countries, and I don't believe you can reduce that to this perhaps questionable case. I believe there's a wider canvas which is neglected in the West and should not be neglected by GB News, which is what is the fate of mothers of any age in Africa, and we can also point to maternity wards in Britain along with India. No, it's not a separate question. It's a much more important question.
No, it's not.
This is a totally extraordinary event, and we're just...
Which was man-made, actually.
Yeah, but it's not extraordinary to die in childbirth, even in British
we're not talking
maternity.
about that, though. We're not talking about that.
Well, on that note, we have to thankfully leave it. James, Claire, thank you very much indeed. Let's have a check on the weather.